Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. We're in the Steel City tonight for some USL Championship action as the Pittsburgh Riverhounds welcome their Eastern Conference foes in the Birmingham Legion to Highmark Stadium tonight. Sean St. Jacques, Eric Dobransky, our entire crew, happy to have you with us. And of course, over the years, Highmark Stadium has been quite the fortress in the USL Championship. Pittsburgh under Bob Lilly have had wonderful home records over the years and have a chance to pick up their 100th Highmark win tonight. Look back at over the years, 2023, they were the Players' Shield winners, only lost once here at Highmark. It dipped a little bit last year in 2024, but the big home games down the stretch helped propel Bob Lilly's side to the playoffs yet again. And they got their first home win of this campaign, Eric, last time out against Hartford Athletic.
And Sean, what we have come to expect, as you just mentioned, at their performances at Highmark, they carried the momentum throughout the match, found a lot of success in those wide areas, and found their breakthrough in the 75th minute with Junior Etu's service to Danny Griffin. Huge goal for the Riverhounds, huge win for Pittsburgh to give them some jet fuel early in this regular season. And of course, the new big signing for Pittsburgh, Augie Williams, is our Modelo player to watch. And it's because he's a really good goal scorer. Has made a career of influencing matches. He is sophisticated with his movement, crafty with his second and third actions. This is a group that's still building those relationships in the attacking half, and you know he's going to be a focal point. We're excited to see how he does tonight here at Highmark. Birmingham haven't tended to do well at Highmark over the years, but in general, Tom Sohn's sides do well on the road. And they have a clear identity, and when you have that clear identity, that consistency travels, and that's what Birmingham Legion and Tom Sohn have been able to do. It allows them to be proactive problem solvers, which is always crucial when playing in challenging environments. And they'll certainly hope that they can carry some of that momentum into a first ever Highmark win tonight. And well, when you need a big win, you need some big goals. Not many better to choose than Ronaldo Damas. Just an absolute menace to opponents and their back line. He is elusive, he's efficient. You think you have him bottled up, and he just needs one moment on the ball in the box, as you saw in that game at Detroit City when he scored. And Birmingham will be, they're going to need that production for a result tonight. Well, anytime Pittsburgh and Birmingham get together, expect a battle. No questions about that, even in the early weeks of this USL Championship season. We'll have the kickoff from Highmark Stadium coming up next.
Ain't no better feeling than a cold one in my hand. That's why I'll be keeping Iron City in my plans. Oh, everywhere I roam, I'll be thinking about my home. Sitting pouring on the iron right before I go to rest. And when I'm laying in my bed, there's only one thing in my head. Just an ice cold can of Pittsburgh, PA's best.
Contracting is Pittsburgh's most trusted and recommended roofer. If there's a leak in the roof of your home or business, we'll find it and fix it with superior workmanship, quality products, and specialized crews for guaranteed satisfaction. Our attention to detail and competitive pricing have customers recommending us again and again. Never worry about your roof. Ireland Contracting, Pittsburgh's most trusted and recommended roofer.
Welcome back, everybody. Sean St. Jacques, Eric Dobransky, our entire crew. Happy to have you with us. About to kick things off here at Highmark between the Riverhounds and the Legion in the USL Championship tonight. Let's dive into the starting lineups. They're presented by Icy Light, brewed for victory. We begin with Bob Lilly's side in search of a second consecutive win in the league.
And one change from last week's home win versus Hartford with the addition of Bradley Sample to the 11. A team that is growing into a ball-dominant side, but still carry that defensive prowess on the ball. Look for continued involvement out in those wide areas by Etu and Biasi. And I think a big match for Walty. Decision-making on and off the ball is going to dictate the tempo.
On the other side of things, for Tom Sohn and the Birmingham Legion, it's their 6th ever trip to Highmark. They're still in search of their first win at Highmark.
And I think the involvement and the cohesiveness and fluidity of McCartney and Preston working with Ronaldo Damas is going to be important, because it's going to keep Pittsburgh honest, and the ability for them not to just be able to send numbers and be that ball-dominant side that they're looking to be. But Enzo Martinez is the field general for Birmingham Legion. I mean, he sets the pace. He is so instrumental of screening passes and disrupting play.
Well, there's certainly not a lack of star power from either side in this game tonight. Pittsburgh looking to make it back-to-back Highmark wins on the bounce. And Tom Sohn brings Birmingham here for a 6th time, 4 defeats and 1 draw. That came last season. The Legion hoping to finally breach the Highmark walls and come out with a victory. It is Birmingham who'll get us started. Pittsburgh will control it from left to right. They're in black and yellow. Birmingham are in white and green. And we are off and running here in the Steel City, in front of a big house here, a packed house at Highmark Stadium. Happy to have you along for the ride. We mentioned it earlier. Anytime Pittsburgh and Birmingham get together, it's fierce, it's competitive, it is a battle, and we expect it to be the same here tonight. Birmingham are not just in search of their first win at Highmark, they're in search of their first win of the season. 3 games without a win for Tom Sohn's side, a couple of draws, including a 2-2 draw at Detroit last time out. It's the 3rd game in a row on the road for Tom Sohn's side after they dropped the home opener against Loudoun earlier this month. And for Pittsburgh, it's been a little bit of a mixed bag as far as the results, but a 1-0 win over Hartford really has helped to try to turn a corner after a bit of a mixed bag of results before that. Draw at Carolina, and then a loss in the middle of all that.
And to your point, Sean, I think it is clearly really early on in the season, but a time where this can be a statement for both sides. I mean, Pittsburgh, the win last week against Hartford, really showcased a lot of positives in terms of what they are looking to build and the structure and the way they're looking to play. But Birmingham, the 2 draws, one Lou City and then the draw against Detroit City. So 2 teams that seem to be towards the top of the East here early on.
Now, tonight's Building a Win is presented by 84 Lumber. What are your thoughts, Coach, on what Pittsburgh have to do?
For Pittsburgh, it's going to be winning the midfield battle. I mean, Enzo Martinez, we talked about how his influence in the midfield for Birmingham. Hernandez Foster coming off a Team of the Week for the USL. I mean, he was influential last week as well, and I think he really coming into being consistent in that midfield. So something where they want to control the tempo and screen passes into Ronaldo Damas. And for Birmingham, it's quality in both boxes. Tom Sohn had brought up the width and the wide play from Pittsburgh, that when they cannot deny service, that they've got to be able to stay compact and be ready to defend that service. But I also think in the attacking box, can they be efficient in the moments they do create? Because we talked about how difficult it is to come to Highmark and get a result. That means that quality over quantity when you're in the attacking third. If you're going to create a chance, be efficient with it, be ruthless in that moment. And when you have a player like Ronaldo Damas up top, we saw it last week in the goal against Detroit City. You felt like Detroit City was carrying a bit of that momentum, and Ronaldo Damas only needed one opportunity, got the slightest deflections, but it just proves how dangerous he is in that attacking box.
Good pressure there from Augie Williams, forces the clearance out for a Hounds throw. Well, we talked to Bob Lilly about the significance of the game. He said, listen, it's not too early to start thinking about tiebreakers and things that are going to apply to those latter stages of the season. He said all games against Birmingham are tough, but already have to start thinking, and there's Bob talking with King Kenny, Leonardo Forbes, who was honored here last week. Never too early to start thinking about how those tiebreakers and playoff seeding could play out. And by the way, Pittsburgh could get a 100th Highmark win. Bob Lilly could get a 120th win with Pittsburgh if the Hounds win tonight.
Just incredible what this team continues to do at Highmark. And going back to your point, I also think, and something that Bob Lilly, you know, no coaches and teams aren't going to necessarily look forward. I mean, they're going to look forward, but they're going to make sure that they're clearly focused on the result. They have all of April on the road in the regular season. I mean, they are going to be road tested very early in the season. So this home game tonight is one that is going to have to carry them into quite a stretch. You know, Birmingham going to have to deal with this set piece.
And set pieces and crosses into the penalty area in general. Tom Sohn talked to us about that earlier this week, how important it is for Birmingham defensively to handle moments just like this one. And Robbie Mertz delivers a decent ball in. It's headed down on the edge of the penalty area. It's recycled. Mertz looks to get back onto it. Etu follows up. But in the end, cushions it out for a throw-in after Dawson McCartney was on the case. Tonight's injury report is brought to you by Allegheny Health Network, the official medical provider of the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. Jacques Esson is a player that Bob Lilly really is excited to get back in the fold. He hasn't had time yet to really express himself this season, of course. And A.J. Patterson out still for Birmingham, and Fanuel Kavita, big player, not available as Augie Williams tries to get inside here. Beaten to it by the always reliable Matt Van Okel.
And these are two teams that you look at them throughout the years, obviously two of the longer tenured coaches in the USL Championship with Tom Sohn and Bob Lilly. You always look at these sides and how defensively organized they are. They are just structured. They're built to be difficult to break down. They're two teams that do not beat themselves. And on the attacking side, you could tell early on in this season, these are two teams that are still building their identity on the ball and in the attacking space. And to your point with Jacobson, it's going to continue to evolve once he gets included in the 11 as well.
Just to piggyback off your point there with the coaches, talked earlier, Bob Lilly could get his 120th win as the Hounds head coach tonight. It would be his 407th win as a professional coach. That's the most of any active coach in the U.S. Pro League's male or female leagues. We're talking about one of the best this country's ever seen, regardless of the level. The numbers just speak for themselves.
Well, absolutely, and it's the consistency.
Yeah.
I mean, the consistency of doing it at a high level, and we all know in pro sports how difficult that is with the ever-changing landscape of whether it's the roster, whether it's just overall opponents' growth, their development. I mean, to do it at that level, you know, that sustained amount of time is absolutely incredible.
Leonardo Forbes said about his retirement, Bob Lilly expects a lot. That's one of the reasons he decided to become a coach moving forward instead of continuing what's been an illustrious career. Leonardo Forbes was with Bob Lilly back with the Rochester Raging Rhinos as well. Won a title there, and then a wonderful run here in Pittsburgh. And what a run Tom Sohn's had with the Birmingham Legion. No questions about that. You look at his record, it's his 7th season. He's approaching 100 wins as the Legion head coach. It'd be pretty sweet if 91 would come here tonight, of course.
He definitely wants to add number 91 here tonight. Some place that he's very familiar with, and a place that we've talked about is just incredibly difficult to get results at, and it's going to be something for his team that I think a lot of these opening exchanges are gonna come to define what this match becomes. We saw the early free kick for Pittsburgh, the Robbie Mertz delivery. How does Birmingham start to unleash what they want to do on the attacking side as we see a terrific ball sprayed out wide.
It's Aiden O'Toole assessing these scenes here. Luke Biasi lays it off. Be a chance to maybe maneuver here. Biasi stays on side. O'Toole looks to pick out a cross here. Mertz, can he stay on his feet? Just about. And it's poked away from him, and the Riverhounds will settle for a throw.
And I think that's something that teams, as this season wears on and play Pittsburgh, whether home or away, how do they continue to evaluate how they defend that wide play? Biasi and Etu joined so early in the attacking moments. Do you find ways where you play a little bit of risk and you keep somebody high in that space where you can go counter on them and maybe take advantage of that vacant space?
That's a Cohen Markets corner here for Pittsburgh on this near side. After the good work by Luke Biasi, who along with Junior Etu were in the bench for USL Team of the Week last week in the championship. In front of the Steel Army here at Highmark, Mertz puts in a decent ball that was flicked across. I think it was helped out for another corner. Martinez helping it along after a decent attempt from Luke Biasi. We just talked about him.
Terrific service, and we talked about consistency with Bob Lilly and what he continues to do at Pittsburgh. When you have consistent delivery, and we saw it earlier with the free kick from Robbie Mertz, and now here a second consecutive corner, it just allows so much to happen with the runs. It's almost to the point where the timing and the influence you can have is just impeccable.
Another Cohen Markets corner comes from it. Luke Biasi's never scored for Pittsburgh in the league. Nearly did so there, and then another good flick here from Biasi into the danger area. This time Birmingham have the numbers, but again, they cannot get it clear.
And just to touch back on what I was just talking about a few moments ago with Biasi and Etu joining the attack in those wide spaces, now that Pittsburgh has gone into this 4-back system, away from their, whether you want to say a 3-back or a 5-back, you know, that kind of system, there's more ground to cover for those two center backs now. If you get broken, decisions have to be made, and I think that's something that for teams, this is not what they're typical of seeing from Pittsburgh, so it's going to be something where they can maybe get a read on it as they kind of stack games, and you get a bit more of a scouting report. But how do you kind of influence their ability to just climb the field so quickly? As you could see Etu up in the attacking third, you could see Biasi already climbing. So how do you kind of harness what that strength in the wide spaces for Pittsburgh and then use it to your advantage?
One of the things that Tom Sohn told us makes Highmark such a difficult prospect was that it's just a tighter field. The way Pittsburgh plays, they can kind of suffocate you and make life really difficult. But he really talked about the field and the way that Pittsburgh used the field to their advantage. And we were talking a bit before we came on the air about how a Birmingham side would maybe prefer a bigger field because of all the pace and the athleticism and the attacking players they have. But tonight in particular, Tom Stone told us that he's going to preach more of a compact style defensively because he knows his team's going to be under some pressure here tonight. We'll have to see how all of that plays out. But some of the Birmingham players expressed confidence about going to Highmark this week and hoping to bring some of those positive vibes. As many teams now know about Highmark, it's easy to talk about it. Can you then go and do it? And Birmingham are going to get a free kick here in the middle of the park after Preston Taboritaka was hacked down.
When I think we talk about it being early in the season, you start building some of those habits and what you draw to what you've done, and they just went on the road and picked up a big point at Detroit City after going down early, getting it back to 1-1, and then eventually finding that late equalizer to make it 2-2. So when you're starting to build that cohesiveness, when you're starting to build that collaboration, that problem solving, you could always look back to, you know, what have you done recently? And they've gone to another difficult place at Detroit City and have picked up a big point. And obviously, you mentioned it earlier, Birmingham yet to pick up the all-elusive 3 points. And I think that's something where they want to tilt some of those results. They had the 1-1 draw against Lou City, which is a big result, and then 2-2 at Detroit City. But that opening loss to Loudoun, that 3-0.
Yeah, that Detroit result's even more impressive considering that Birmingham, of course, were at the wrong end of a cup set as well right before that Detroit game. Little Rock Rangers beat them 1-0 in the opening round of the Lamar Hunt US Open Cup, which of course could always be a tough thing to bounce back from, and they had to face adversity again against Le Rouge in Hamtramck, and they did it not once but twice, to your earlier point, Coach.
And I would dare to say early on in the season, navigating some injuries.
Yeah.
Some, having to adjust some roles. Suarez typically playing central. He's playing out in that wide area as we see an early yellow card. Tackle on Enzo Martinez.
It's a mistimed challenge by Aidan O'Toole. Looked a little bit like a striker's challenge there, and he is rightfully booked.
Yellow card against the Riverhounds, number 4, Aidan O'Toole.
See Enzo Martinez getting that touch on the ball, and Aidan O'Toole just going right through, picking up the early yellow.
Bob Lilly not pleased. It was an odd one because it looked like Aidan O'Toole went in so early that he actually had a chance to avoid the contact, but instead made contact on Enzo Martinez, and the referee really didn't have much of a choice.
Yeah, and I don't want to say for Aidan O'Toole being a wider player, it softens the blow of getting an early yellow, because obviously you still have to be measured with what you do, and especially the way Pittsburgh plays defensively. When they have those cues to press, you got to be careful.
From the set piece, it's a cushioned header clear. Martinez trying to flutter it back into the penalty area. Again, the Hounds have the answer. And a couple of, well, odd coming togethers there for an acrobatic clearance away. Etu follows up. Headed forward by Thiago Suarez. And it's going to be cleaned up by Eric Dick. Well, welcome to the 2025 USL kickoff. It's presented by Terminix. Throughout the month of March, the USL will be kicking off all across the country. Join us for all the action on ESPN and CBS Sports platforms. What a start to the season it's been. There's been,
I was just about to say,
bucket loads of drama, seemingly every night.
Everything you thought you knew going into the start of the season, or you thought maybe some teams would carry momentum from last year, or obviously you saw some of the roster construction in the offseason from a lot of teams and new faces and new places. But to your point, it has been a splendid start to the season.
That's why we love it, right? It's unpredictable. You just never quite know what you're going to get week in and week out. That's why so many fans, and it's growing, it seems, every year, love watching this league. And Pittsburgh looking to put the pressure back on the Legion here. We'll get another Cohen corner kick to be taken by Mertz. And Mertz goes to the back stick. Body's flying in that back stick area. Cushioned header to recycle it by Betso Idrach. First time ball back in is knocked away before Walty and Sample could get to it. And now Pittsburgh, as they love to do, quickly win the ball right back. Mertz on the near side. Flutters one towards the edge of the penalty area, just over the head of Danny Griffin. And Birmingham just about are able to deal with this here. Martinez, though, can't find a teammate, although they get the deflection.
And that's why, come back to what you and I were talking about earlier in this first half, it is early in the season. But what you were mentioning with Bob Lilly, knowing that towards the end of the season, you're going to look at some of these matchups and say, if we could have picked up a point, if we could have picked up all three, some of those moments that either got away from you or you took and you ran with. These are two teams that are ambitious. They not only expect to make the playoffs, but they want to make playoff runs.
Yeah.
And so this is as early of an early season test for both these teams and where they're at. You know, obviously we just spoke about Birmingham dealing with some of the injuries. You know, Pittsburgh, the same thing. So both these teams will probably look different as the season wears on. But, you know, you have matchups that you kind of circle early on, and this is definitely one of them in the East. I know everybody was kind of looking at that Lou City, Detroit City game today.
Yeah.
And that was going to be a big one, and Lou City taking that result.
Tom Sohn's side did get that impressive draw at home against Lou City without all of his best players available in that game. And there have been 3 finals already from earlier today. You mentioned one of them, Coach. Louisville winning 2-0 against Detroit. Loudon off to another brilliant start. Ryan Martin's boys win 2-0 over Rhode Island, and the defending Eastern Conference champs not off to the best start under Cano Smith in year 2. And El Paso go to Hartford, and Wilmer Cabrera's Locomotive get a big 2-1 win, and Brendan Burke's side in need of a bounce back as well.
Yeah, and Brendan Burke's side, Hartford, were one of the hottest teams to end 2024.
Yeah.
And so, you know, we kind of thought that this season would be the extension of what we saw towards the end of it. You know, club record in points, I mean, so many positives from Hartford, and it's been a little bit of a challenging start.
Since we're talking league as a whole here, we were talking before we came on the air. Another really impressive result last night for FC Tulsa.
Oh,
Luke
yeah.
Spencer's side have had 3 really impressive wins, and them beating Neil Collins and Sac Republic surely tops the list.
Yeah, when you watch that game, Sacramento Republic is going to kind of rue the opportunities that they didn't convert. They really carried a lot of momentum in that first 45, and credit to Luke Spencer's side. They made the adjustments at halftime, completely flipped the script. Got that game winner. Talk about.
Well, this is kept in play here. Chance for Pittsburgh. Van Oekel made the save, and then it was headed away. Great effort by the Hounds just to keep the play alive on the byline. It nearly yielded the opening goal. Big save from the big Matt Van Oekel.
And this is what you need from your goalkeeper in big moments. And this is what Matt Van Oekel has made a career of. Good turn here by Robbie Mertz. He has been so influential here early, whether it's in the run of play or on free kicks. It's a big stop by Van Oekel.
Best chance of the match for either side after great work by Mertz just to dig it out and keep it going. Can Birmingham find a response up the other end here? Little interplay falls apart on the far side. Mertz is all over the place. He's there again to pick up the pieces. And then Augie Williams, not the best of hold-up play from him, gives it right back to the Legion.
And getting on the ball, I would say probably much deeper down the field than Bob Lilly and Pittsburgh want to see Augie Williams.
Goes all the way back to Eric Dick, who had a phenomenal season last year for Pittsburgh, had a club record 14 clean sheets, won the Golden Glove, lowest goals against average, and was not only the goalkeeper of the year, but made the first team all-league team last year as well.
And you know, kind of going off of the Van Oekel save right now, made some crucial interventions last week against Hartford, because Pittsburgh had a casual giveaway 30 seconds into the match, building out of the back. I mean, Zhang skies it over the crossbar, but the presence and the ability for Eric Dick to come off his line and influence that opportunity, but then also made another one later on in a giveaway in the first half and influenced that service against Ingalina. So that was at 0-0 last week. So his team finding the goal and a couple of those big moments by Eric Dick that came to influence them picking up 3 points.
Mertz again onto the near side for Biasi. And Biasi just tried to poke it down the line for O'Toole. And the attack for the Hounds fizzles out.
Highmark Stadium is a family-friendly environment. We ask that you enjoy yourself, but also do so in a responsible way. That's considerate.
Get a lot of other games around the league have just kind of kicked off along with us. We'll be keeping you up to date on some of those other games. We could tell you about a couple other goals. Lexington are 2-0 up already on San Antonio. And Indy 11 just scored against the defending champion Switchbacks. So Sean McCauley's group are leading 1-0 as well. And here's a takeaway. Robbie Mertz leading the Hounds attack, laying it off here. Oh, it's off the woodwork. Looked like either a shot or a cross, and either way, the frame comes to Birmingham's aid. Pittsburgh continue to move it forward. O'Toole after a cheeky little flick from Biasi, and it's a throw-in for Pittsburgh deep in the Legion end.
And Pittsburgh growing in confidence, and here coming off a turnover, but their ability to be effective in that half space has been a massive bright spot in their attack here in the first half. Their ability, you saw it with Robbie Mertz driving the end line, and then there hitting the crossbar.
Loose touch there allows Thiago Suarez to try to get Birmingham forward, but once again, Bob Lilly's men quickly win the ball back.
And that's the blend that they're looking for. They want to be ball dominant, and that's why they've kind of switched the way that they're playing. But they also still want to be that team that is very difficult to play around in terms of the pressure that they apply and that relentlessness that they play with. Because you ask a lot of teams that are ball dominant and want to have possession, some of the most difficult areas is transition, because you're playing this expansive style. Your distances are so large that when you get turned over, now all of a sudden the opponent is compact. They're able to play through the lines. They're able to find some success and start to find, forward areas, advanced areas quicker. And that's something where Pittsburgh does not want to relinquish that ability to defensively influence a game.
Well, the Hounds will do a full reset here. Walty from Edrach. We're hoping to keep an eye on Ronaldo Damas, who hasn't had much of a sniff yet. That's what Bob Lilly wants to keep, is the status quo as this game moves along. Of course, Ronaldo Damas has now won 3 different titles at 3 different USL clubs. North Texas was the first one, USL League One title, then won the crown at Orange County, and then last year was influential again in the run for the Colorado Springs Switchbacks, who are our current champions. Good step in there from Danny Griffin to win it back for the Hounds once more. Here's Etu sliding it through for Robbie Mertz, and Mertz is swarmed and dispossessed. Ball fluttered over the top for Damas, and again, there's just too much Pittsburgh presence in that back line. Damas has nothing to work with. It's settled down by Bradley Sample, who Bob Lilly's thrilled to have back in more of a minutes load and more of an impact to get him more involved in this Pittsburgh outfit. Here's Aiden O'Toole sliding it through for Sample, who lays it off.
It's going to be a difficult night for Ronaldo Damas if it's going to continue to be a 2v1 matchup, and Jackson Walty sitting right in front of those 2 center backs as well. So it's really a 3v1, because Walty screening passes, making sure that they're denying entry. But even when you do succeed and you get that entry pass, you got to deal with Suber and Edrach.
O'Toole plays a really good ball in. Suarez cushions the header out of play, and it's going to be another Cohen Supermarkets corner here. More for Matt Van Oekel in his defense to think about. And we've come to expect great deliveries from Robbie Mertz. He hasn't missed too many of them already tonight.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing for Birmingham that you don't want to see kind of evolve as this game goes is your ability to retreat closer and closer to Van Oekel, because you know you're going to have to deal with services, making sure that you're structured and you've got those layers.
Well, it's clogged in the 6-yard box. That's why our head official, Nabil Ben Salah, is trying to keep the peace in there. I told you it's going to have an edge to it, this one. These two teams have met twice in the playoffs over the years, Pittsburgh winning both of those, including an epic game a couple of years ago in the first round of the playoffs where Pittsburgh went to Birmingham and threw a couple of late goals in normal time and extra time from Edward Kizza. Saw them emerge on penalties in the end to knock the Legion out that year. The one playoff game they played here at Highmark, the Hounds won 7-0 over Birmingham. That was during that magical 2019 run that Bob Lilly's boys had that was extinguished by Louisville in the round after. Mertz with another brilliant ball in. Again, Birmingham with enough there to deal with it. Damas tries to help it along. And as the Riverhounds were about to pick up possession again, the referee has stopped the play for a potential head injury here. And Roman Torres is the player here for the Legion in need of a moment or two. The Steel Army not exactly convinced, but you gotta be better safe than sorry in moments like this.
And Roman Torres being one of those players that has stepped up for Tom Sohn and this Birmingham Legion side. Come in and put in a consistent shift. Some of the injuries they're dealing with and impactful since arriving to Birmingham on loan.
For 30% off of all 2025 training kits. Don't wait. This offer only lasts until the 40th minute. You have 10 minutes.
One more look at the last sequence here where it is, actually pinballed around. It was Ethan Koss who got the header on it, and then it ricocheted off of Roman Torres, who wasn't ready for it. Well, more and more evidence that the referee was well within his right to bring this to a halt.
I think for Birmingham, obviously continuing to make sure that Roman Torres is okay. But going back to their ability to defend some of those wide services when you know that you're in for a match that you're going to have to defend services, whether you're influencing it or denying it. And then once you've not been able to do either one of those, that you're going to have to defend your 18-yard box, you do find moments where you retreat too early. And then now you're sitting right on top of your goalkeeper. The distances in front of goal are just so compact that you want to make sure for Birmingham that you can continue to stay honest with your distance from Van Oekel, giving him the space to operate, not putting unnecessary traffic in front of him, and not inviting numbers from Pittsburgh and really putting yourself in harm's way.
We hope Torres is okay as the Hounds get back on it here. Lovely ball over the top here. Van Oekel needed to use his head on the edge of the penalty area. Another dangerous ball played in and around the Birmingham penalty area. And off a ricochet, it'll stay with the Legion on the near side. Well, 2025 Riverhounds season tickets are on sale now. Don't miss your chance to be a part of all the action all season long. Tickets are selling fast. Visit riverhounds.com/tickets for more information. Another wild sequence there, Coach.
Yeah, and here in this first half, you're seeing both these teams struggle to get their strikers involved. Ronaldo Damas, we haven't seen much involvement from him from Birmingham, and then Augie Williams, obviously that continues, those relationships continue to grow, but that kind of leaves that space open for who's going to step up and allow some of that momentum and help some of that momentum shift for Birmingham. Tabor Itaka, McCartney, do those two players now allow some of the outlet play to be in the wide space? And then for Pittsburgh, we've seen it with Robbie Mertz, his involvement, Aiden O'Toole, the services. Jackson Walty has been able to find a moment in the 18-yard box.
Next step, right, will be for Pittsburgh to try to grab a lead. This Birmingham team is resilient, and they'll certainly make you pay if you don't punish them.
Well, we saw it last night with Sacramento and FC Tulsa.
Yeah.
You can feel like all the momentum is in your favor and you're creating the chances. And sometimes that's the most difficult halftime, is going into a break 0-0 and feeling like you have the momentum. And there's Tabor Itaka getting on the ball, getting a free kick. And we do see this quite often, is teams build off of set pieces, free kicks, allowing that to be a bit more of the front foot and some of that, the chances that they create.
Maybe a future Hound looking on, maybe one day. Now it's Pittsburgh's turn to defend a set-piece opportunity here. Torres and Hernandez Foster standing over it. It's going to be Torres to deliver here. And he places it too close to Dick, who's able to shepherd it out of play, although he may have taken a bit of a nick on the way through. Hopefully Eric Dick is okay. Tough to tell if that was a teammate or possibly one of the Birmingham players, but for now, Dick will look to continue on here. Jacob Randolph is the listed backup goalkeeper for the Hounds tonight. And Eric Dick will set it forward with 10 minutes, plus potential stoppages left in the half. Well, the USL is on CBS Sports. It kicks off April 6th. Two former USL Championship title winners battle it out. As was undefeated, San Antonio. They could lose earlier tonight. We'll wait and see on that. Take on Western Conference rivals Phoenix Rising under new coach Pamadou Ka. It's a 4 p.m. Eastern kickoff on CBS.
I was just going to say, my friend, that is a game that is now 2-2.
Whoa,
San
they came
Antonio,
back,
Lexington.
so maybe San Antonio will be unbeaten. We'll keep that in the back pocket. It's going to be a great game either way. April 6th. Tune in. We'll be on CBS. Great layoff here. Big block. Mertz on the follow-up. Buries it. One of the Steel City's own scores in front of the Steel Army to give the Hounds the lead.
And this is the Pittsburgh Riverhounds raiding the box of Birmingham Legion. Their ability to recognize a bit of a delay there and just stacking the box. The numbers that give you the opportunity for not only the first wave of attack, but that second and third that proved to be so dangerous and so defining in games. And Robbie Mertz just lurking in that space. That ball comes right back out to him and has the composure to take a touch and pick his area.
His first of the season, number 14, Robbie.
Well, it's a Pittsburgh Riverhounds goal presented by Cone Markets. It's Robbie Mertz's first USL Championship goal of the season. Doesn't score a lot for the Hounds, just had 3 last season, 2 before that, and in his first year he had just 1 for Pittsburgh, but boy, does he make them count when he scores them.
And for Pittsburgh, 3 goals on the season, 3 different goal scorers. Augie Williams was on the score sheet in their 1-1 draw at North Carolina. Danny Griffin scored the game winner last week against Hartford, and now Robbie Mertz, as we see Junior Etu down for Pittsburgh.
Speaking of Pittsburgh mainstays, Junior Etu's been a big part of the Bob Lilly setup in recent years, along with the likes of Danny Griffin and the aforementioned Robbie Mertz, part of a key core of Hounds players returning this season. And Etu maybe just needed a moment. He's back up onto his feet, and looked like Pittsburgh did get the decision there as well. It's going to be a free kick.
Yeah, Robbie Mertz's second stint with the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. As you mentioned, Danny Griffin carrying over 150 appearances for the Riverhounds. So mainstays for Bob Lilly, and obviously one of the greats in Canardo Forbes.
And this is where opponents here at Highmark enter the danger zone area. Can they hold it at just the one goal? Hartford were able to do it last time, but still could not get the result. Can the Legion find a response here? Couldn't squeeze that ball through. Mensah had the right idea. Out to the far side, it's picked back up by Enzo Martinez, who certainly can make things happen. Martinez tried to fit the pass through Augie Williams unsuccessfully.
Now for Birmingham, how do you blend the need to get a goal back and also, to what you just brought up, keep this at one goal? You know, because last week against Hartford, they scored in the 75th minute, so not much time for Hartford. But here, early enough where Birmingham can still stick to their identity, stick to what their game plan was, and execute at a high level.
Well, we talked about the persistence in this first half from Pittsburgh. It has yielded a reward. We've already kind of reached a breaking point in the match.
And Bob Lilly has talked about it over the weeks in terms of the transition to playing in this four-back and this new system of wanting to be ball dominant and see a lot more possession. And we just talked about some of the mainstays.
Ball in there for Damas, header away. It was a decent ball from Dawson McCartney, who hasn't gotten a ton of involvement yet in the match.
Some of the mainstays for Pittsburgh. And now when you play with an earlier lead, because even in that 1-1 against North Carolina, scoring in the 57th, so second half goal, had the second half goal against Hartford, does it become human nature or natural for Pittsburgh now to kind of be more defensive minded? Do they kind of start to get...
Damas! Oh, it's off the bar! And the offside flag goes up. It wouldn't have counted. That's how quickly Ronaldo Damas can make an impact. Just could not time his run up.
Yeah, no involvement whatsoever in the time that we've played here in this first half, and then all of a sudden just bolts into that space. Just a fraction offside, but just how lethal he can be in that attacking third.
Well, he already has 2 Birmingham Legion goals already. And a break here as well. All the players on the field that observe Ramadan can now break their fast here, as the sun is just about set here in the Steel City. Again, Sean St. Jacques, Eric Dobransky, our entire crew. It's a postcard-esque night here at Highmark Stadium in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. We were joking with Tom Sohn earlier in the week what kind of weather that they were going to see at Highmark tonight. The answer is just about perfect, and we've had a really good game throughout the majority of this first half. Robbie Mertz with the Hounds goal.
Yeah, couldn't ask for better weather, and to your point, Robbie Mertz, the goal that has put the Pittsburgh Riverhounds ahead, and we felt like they were asking the right questions, Pittsburgh were. They were getting into those half spaces, they were getting in good wide services, but it was almost a duplicate of kind of some of the chances and half chances they created against Hartford at home last week. Lacked a bit of dynamic play in some of those runs, some of the commitment to getting that near post, that far post, but the numbers have been there. They have flooded the box, and you could see it with the Robbie Mertz goal, the ability to create that moment with some of that near post run, the occupying space centrally, and then that touch just falling to Robbie Mertz and him tucking it away.
Well, some of the road support here are the Birmingham Legion, who have made the trek from Alabama, hoping their team can show some of that resilience that we've come accustomed to seeing from them already this season. Eric Dick plays it out of play off the restart. It goes right back to the Legion with 2 minutes left, plus any stoppages in the half. From the throw-in, Pittsburgh again back on. It's looped over the top, looking for Augie Williams, who doesn't win the ball. But Robbie Mertz is there to fight for the second ball, and Torres is clever. Gets it away from him. And it looks like has won a free kick. Legion back on it. Well, don't miss your chance to be a part of history with the Pittsburgh Riveters SC. Season tickets for the 2025 USLW League are on sale now. Experience all the action at Highmark Stadium. Grab your tickets now at riverssc.com/tickets. Couldn't have picked a much better name for that women's team. The Riveters is about as good as you're gonna get. Can't wait to see how that unfolds here at Highmark as well. And here the flag is gonna go up for offside against Augie Williams. Of course, Augie Williams scored on opening night for Pittsburgh in his debut against North Carolina. And with that goal, Augie Williams has actually now scored for 6 different teams in USL Championship play in his career. And you go back so far, his first goal was actually for Portland at the time. We're talking way back. Then LA, San Diego, Charleston, Indy last season, of course, and now the Hounds. And he'll be in search of his first Highmark goal as a Hound tonight.
And I think that just speaks volumes to obviously the professionalism, but just the overall effectiveness that he's had over his career. Because it is not easy as a central attacker to change teams and still be just as effective, because I mean you're counting on teammates to supply you the service, to supply you the entry passes. Obviously you're working off of the structure and you're building those relationships, but to be able to be that efficient everywhere you've played is just absolutely incredible. And you brought it up earlier, Ronaldo Damas winning titles everywhere. I mean,
yeah.
It seems like every stop he's influencing their title contention, and coming off a terrific season with Colorado Springs.
Augie Williams has 77 USL Championship League goals, top 5 in the league history. Just shows you the consistency and, to your point, Coach, the longevity of his career. And I think a lot of people around the league would tell you he's still got a lot of good years left, Augie Williams.
Well, it's a fascinating point you bring up, because the availability of players, you know, go back to Canardo Forbes, you ask about the records that he holds, and he said it to Devin Kerr and Mike Watts on USL All Access, was the minutes played was some of his the proudest achievements, because it showed he was available.
Enzo Martinez, who's also in the realm of a lot of different USL Championship records. The captain for the Legion misses the shot wide.
And Canardo Forbes put Enzo Martinez in his Mount Rushmore of USL Championship players. Yep.
Yeah, Enzo Martinez got a shot. I think Sean Toch, Lou City also got a...
Cameron Lancaster.
Yeah. Boy, the battles that those Lou City and Pittsburgh teams have had over the years as well. Still a chance here for the Legion. A couple minutes in to the 5 added on at the end of the half. And Preston Tabor-Itaka tried to cross it into the middle, but the offside flag has gone up. Birmingham a bit perplexed. It's a free kick for Pittsburgh in the end after a promising bit of build-up there.
And this is what Tom Sohn and his side need going into the break. They need to start building some of this momentum with that front three, with those 3 players, McCartney, Tabor-Itaka, and Ronaldo Damas, because right now you can't just rely on entry to Ronaldo Damas, because clearly they're influencing the entry, Pittsburgh Riverhounds are, and they've got the 2 center backs sitting on Ronaldo Damas. So you need an outlet and the ability to hold up play and play underneath that back line from McCartney and Tabor-Itaka.
At 2. Sample! Touched over the top by Van Oekel.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got another.
And it's going to be a Cohen Markets corner. after a brilliant strike.
And we talked about it in the open with the keys of the game. Winning the midfield for Pittsburgh was going to be vital to a result tonight, and we've seen it. We've seen the influence of, on the ball, not so much of Danny Griffin, but his off-the-ball movement has been crucial. Walty, and then now that strike from Bradley Sample.
And now the Mertz corner. Looked like he was shaping up for an Olympico attempt there. Junior Etu picks up the pieces and slides it back through. The Hounds could be in here on the layoff. Mertz, first time ball back in, comes up short, cleared away by Jake Roof. And maybe a chance for the Legion here. Seconds remaining in the half, but Tabor Itaka forced to slightly retreat. Moses Mensah. Still a chance maybe to move this forward for the Legion. Roof up ahead. Torres pinning it from Mensah on the near side. Here's Preston Tabor Itaka. Gliding past an initial challenge from O'Toole and then dispossessed by Sample. And the Hounds move it up the other end. A collision there. Referee allows play to continue. It opens up here for Danny Griffin. The Hounds captain surveys the scene. Biasi joins in. Jackson Walty. The Hounds have to hurry here, and Walty's pass comes up short. Damas gets back on it here, but is quickly dispossessed. And that is how the first half will end here at Highmark. Well, certainly plenty of haymakers thrown between these two Eastern Conference rivals, but it's the Hounds that have the 1-0 lead thanks to one of their own, Robbie Mertz.
And what they have done really well in this first 45 is managing those transition moments from Birmingham. And for Birmingham, we talked about the involvement of Tabor Itaka towards the end and McCartney. How does Birmingham secure possession and secure some of those moments going forward? That's going to be the question for them going into the second half.
Still well poised for those second 45 minutes between these two Eastern Conference rivals in the USL Championship. But it's Bob Lilly's Riverhounds who have found the breakthrough thanks to Robbie Mertz's first goal of the season. Work to do for the Legion here, and as they're still in search of that elusive Highmark win. We'll look around the league and much more coming up at the half.
We're not the universe's window company. We're not the world's window company. And we're not the nation's window company. Thermo Twin is Pittsburgh's window company.
Pittsburgh is our home. Check in with Thermo Twin. We are employee owned. Check in with Thermo Twin.
Check in now and get 25% off and 36-month interest-free financing.
Check in with Thermo Twin.
At AHN, good heart care starts before you're just not feeling right. Before you say, it'll go away on its own. Before it doesn't. Because before an emergency, there's time to stop heart problems with a simple preventative heart check. At AHN, we see you.
Mike's credit score isn't something to write home about. But here he is, fists pumping the sky like the end of an 80s rom-com. You see, Mike just got approved to trade in his car for a better one because Byrider looked at extra factors beyond his credit, like his savings. Now, Mike has the chance to upgrade his car and his credit score. Right now during Byrider's trade-in event. Trade in your vehicle and take advantage of flexible payment options on quality cars, trucks, and SUVs.
Welcome back, everybody. Tonight's halftime is presented by 84 Lumber. 1-0 to the Hounds at the half. And, of course, there's so much excitement around the Hounds. There's also a lot of excitement around the Pittsburgh Riveters in the USLW League. Here's more on what's to come there.
For the first time in history, and as the need became acute, for the first time in history,
next year the Riverhounds will have company here at Highmark Stadium.
Rosie the Riveter.
Tonight marks a new chapter in women's soccer in Pittsburgh.
And her bandana.
The growth of the game in Pittsburgh is over the last 10 years has gone through the roof.
Becomes the symbol of the home front.
Well, so many good things to look forward for the Pittsburgh community and for the USL community at large as well. 1-0 to the Hounds here against the Legion. We'll step aside for a moment. News and notes and more from around the league is coming up next.
Tiptoed the line. Wilson! Brilliant! And he has been on fire in Tampa Bay. Cross forward, put down by Gagi, the hero. Let's go!
We all have goals. But let's be honest, most of us aren't going to be professional athletes. But if your goal is to finish your degree, we can help. Come to a university that puts your goals first. Bellevue University, your partner in finishing goals.
Success doesn't come easy. It takes grit, hustle, and relentless effort. Every step forward brings you closer to greatness. This is your moment. Elevate your game. El Jimador Spiked Bebidas.
Welcome back, everybody. Sean St. Jacques, Eric Dobransky here with you during the 8-4 Lumber halftime here at Highmark. 1-0 to the Hounds for the big 45 minutes still to play in this big Eastern Conference matchup in the USL Championship. Time to broaden the scope a bit, look around the rest of the USL Championship, and in the news and notes, international duty already becoming a big talking point, not just among USL Championship players, but USL League One during international break. And then what a, well, spectacle, really. The Oakland Coliseum opening up, almost 27,000 fans, and the Rasmussen overhead kick to cap it all off.
Yeah, tremendous time in the community of Oakland, back in the Coliseum. Oakland Roots just opening that place up in style. Obviously didn't pick up 3 points, but a big night for Oakland. And then never thought we'd see the day, Sean. Promotion and relegation. Such a glorious outcome from the owners' meetings. Obviously, if you haven't had the chance to watch it or listen to it, USL All Access, Devin Kerr, Mike Watts always do a tremendous job every week. They do a fantastic interview with USL President Paul McDonough.
Seconded on the listen there for sure. And scores around the league. We talked about Tulsa's big win yesterday. El Paso winning at Hartford. Big win for Louisville, though Kevin Lambert sent off at the end of that game. And Ryan Martin's Loudoun are at it again in the early weeks of a USL Championship season.
It's early, but my goodness, there's some results that we could easily go into overreaction Monday. we can see some of these. I mean, FC Tulsa picking up that win against Sacramento, but Loudoun. I mean, I think we're all in awe of what that team is doing. Obviously, hot start last season. Let's see if they can continue it. And then right before the break, Colorado Springs equalizing at Indy 11. And then we mentioned it during our first half. It was 2-0 for Lexington. San Antonio has pulled it back to 2-2, and they're unbeaten still in the season.
And Miami and North Carolina giving some pretty big teams all they can handle as well. 0-0 in Miami with New Mexico United. Charleston work to do coming up in the second half there. And of course, have to highlight the upcoming national TV schedule here. We talked about it earlier. Mark it down. April 6th, 4 p.m. Eastern, CBS. San Antonio taking on Phoenix. San Antonio feature a lot here in April and May. Also on CBS Sports Network against the Switchbacks and Tulsa. Also in the Coliseum, May 4th, Sac Republic against Oakland, CBS Sports Network as well. So many games to circle on your calendar in the days and weeks to come. We'll step aside for a moment. First half highlights and stats are coming up next. 1-0 Pittsburgh with a big second half to come against the Birmingham Legion. More to come when we come back.
You're natural.
Let's make this more interesting. Winner gets...
the new 100 times the cash scratch off with top prizes of 100 grand.
Oh, it's on.
Just you wait till next time.
Rematch next week?
Let's play it by ear. Keep on scratching.
Ain't no better feeling than a cold one in my hand. That's why I'll be keeping Iron City in my plans. Oh, everywhere I roam, I'll be thinking about my home. Sitting pouring on the iron right before I go to rest. And when I'm laying in my bed, there's only one thing in my head. Just an ice cold can of Pittsburgh, PA's best.
Looking to save on internet and mobile? Get the best of both with Xfinity. Because now you can get Xfinity internet with unlimited mobile included for $30 a month for the first year. And unlock faster, secure Wi-Fi at home and on the go with Wi-Fi Power Boost. Plus, when you switch from Verizon or AT&T, save over $1,000 in your first year and get a free 5G phone. Switch today and save on internet and mobile. Only with Xfinity.
Back here at the half, brought to you by 84 Lumber. Pittsburgh leading Birmingham by a Robbie Mertz goal to nil, with still a big second half upcoming and a jam-packed Highmark here in the USL Championships Eastern Conference. Let's dive into the first half highlights. They're brought to you by Corona. Sean St. Jacques, Eric Dobransky here with you. And Coach, you begin with a really good start from the Hounds in the attack.
And it's been a comprehensive first 45 performance from Pittsburgh Riverhounds. This early chance by Robbie Mertz was almost a foreshadowing of the goal to come. He turns the corner. He's able to turn his defender. Matt Van Oekel coming up big and keeping this game at 0-0 here early. You saw that late run from Augie Williams. But it was just sustained and relentless from the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. They have been able to guard certain areas, and they're affecting the outlets for Birmingham Legion. You see this chance by Jackson Walty, the overlapping run of Robbie Mertz, smashing that crossbar, and then again, they just kept chipping away. They kept sending more and more numbers, and then the breakthrough coming as this ball gets played out to Aiden O'Toole, to the delay, and then a bit fortunate with the deflection here, but still, you have a lot of work to do here for Robbie Mertz. So the composure to take a touch, pick his area, and really leave Matt Van Oekel in no position to make a save. This is a first half goal from Pittsburgh Riverhounds that has been well worked, and it's been good momentum for them.
And Robbie Mertz, a Pittsburgh native, celebrating with his fellow Pittsburgh natives in the Steel Army after a big goal there. Halftime stats, I think the big thing you look at right there, only one shot for Birmingham, none on target. Pittsburgh have been pretty close to dominant in this first half.
To that point, we did see that one moment where it looked like Ronaldo Damas got away, and in between the two defenders, it was called offside. but still, it's kind of that sneaky reminder for the Pittsburgh Riverhounds that, hey, Ronaldo Damas does not need a lot of touches to impact a scoreline, so to make sure that you're still alert and aware of where his movement is taking him.
And we'll see how it all plays out at the start of the second half. It did look like that there was a substitution made between the end of the first half and the beginning of the second half. Birmingham have brought on Ramiz Hamada, and they've taken off Ethan Koss at the start of this second half. Well, Tom Stone will expect a bit more from the Birmingham Legion in the second 45 minutes, but it's easier said than done when the Riverhounds are humming along like they are so far tonight. Teams will switch sides at the start of the second half, and it's Pittsburgh going from right to left here at Highmark, leading by the Mertz goal to nil. Confirmation of the substitution. Hamada on, Koss off for Tom Sohn. Clearly something defensively there, unless there was an injury that we don't know about, that the Legion coach wants to adjust at the start of the second half here.
Yeah, you got to hope for Tom Sohn and his group that it isn't another injury that they've taken on, because this is a group that's already kind of thinned out in terms of their depth, and talked about how different this squad is going to look as this season wears on, but still having to navigate quite a stretch and quite a schedule. So you got to hope that it is just something where they're just seeing something different in the back, and maybe the possibility of the ability to play out of the back and find some of those spacing going forward and play out of those advanced positions.
Etrach had a really good calm and composure. He was being harried, but his ball forward for Augie Williams, not quite timed up to perfection on that Williams run. Offside flag goes up, and Bob Lilly goes right back to work, hoping to see more of what he saw in the first half here in the second 45.
Yeah, you've got to imagine that he liked the overall look of his team on the ball, but I think as this continues, and now playing with a 1-0 lead, so sometimes that even makes it a bit more beneficial in terms of what you want to look, as we see Roman Torres down and had the head injury in the first half, and then it's like
we said it's physical. Torres has gotten a couple of heavy bumps and bruises already in these first 48 minutes.
And I don't want to speculate what it is, but you got to hope that he can continue. Tom Sohn was praised his performance thus far, and talked about the injuries navigating this early in the season. You need players to step up, and Roman Torres has been one of those, along with a handful of others that have really done a terrific job.
Tom Sohn mulls things over, and look at Birmingham over the last 4 years. This is their overall record, and last year really was an outlier. First time they've missed the playoffs in the illustrious Birmingham Legion history. I know that was definitely a bit of a sore spot during the offseason, something that Birmingham, of course, want to make amends for this year. I mean, that Eastern Conference playoff chase was wild at the end of last season. We mentioned it earlier, how hot Hartford got towards the end of the regular season in the East. Birmingham had a couple of big results late on, ended up being too little, too late, and it ended up being North Carolina and their return to the USL Championship that just got in and got that last playoff spot and gave Louisville a heck of a fight in the first round in the Eastern Conference quarterfinals last year. But expected to be similar, not just in the East, but the West tends to be crazy again in the playoff chase as we get really towards those, the summer months, and then we get towards the fall and winter side of things after that, of course.
And it was just so intriguing because we continue to kind of talk about how early it is in the season, and you talk to coaches, they talk about how long of a season this is in terms of how they have to kind of prepare the squad rotation, the depth, the availability. But you look at some of the starts that the teams in the East got last year, and Bob Lilly's mentioned it a couple weeks in a row now, is they have that start to last season fresh in their mind because of how much pressure it put on them mid-season and late season. They were almost in a playoff game every match.
Yeah.
Starting towards that middle portion of the season. So Tom Sohn, you mentioned last year being that outlier, they're going to have that fresh in their mind and they want to make sure that they are, talked about the ambition of both these teams, not only kind of scratching the surface of making the playoffs, but securely making the playoffs and being one of those teams that is trending in that upward trajectory going into the playoffs. Rhode Island started out with, I can't even count how many draws to start out the East, and they put it all together at the end. And talk about outliers, Colorado Springs, I mean, they had such a slow start to last season and ended up winning the whole thing.
Even a few years ago, Jordan Farrell, his season with the Oakland Roots, when they first came into the championship, they had such a rocky start and then beat second-seeded El Paso in the first round of the playoffs when Mark Lowry was in charge. And the Hounds are still looking and hungry for more in and around the Birmingham penalty area. This time the Legion do leak out with possession, and Torres is back involved. Looks to spray it over to this near side. Etu is on the case. And Thiago Suarez resets for Birmingham.
Yeah, so some examples of teams that have rebounded from slower starts. You know, I remember towards the middle of last year, we were all asking ourselves about Pittsburgh Riverhounds, and was this the year that they weren't going to make the playoffs? Obviously had that turnaround, but going back to it, these are two teams that are taking that experience and building off of it and making sure that they're learning from what they experienced in 2024. And, you know, Bob Lilly talked about it. He's going to look at results later on in the season and see how they came to define where they sit in the playoff picture.
Certainly Pittsburgh and Birmingham, two teams that doesn't really matter what they're going through during the season. You just don't count them out. They've got the pedigree, obviously the two incredible coaches leading the way as well. I even remember during that early season stretch where you started to think, man, Pittsburgh might not be able to figure this out. And so many people came out in and around the league and said, but it's Bob Lilly. You just don't count the Hounds out. And they were proven right yet again last season. We're the 7th seed in the East. And again, they gave Ben Pierman's Battery a heck of a fight in that Eastern Conference quarterfinal, but Charleston did prevail in the end last season. Goes out for a Riverhounds throw on the far side. Biasi to take. And this is where the Riverhounds under Bob Lilly are always in a sweet spot. They've got a lead, they've got control of the game, the momentum is with them. Birmingham have to try to break all of that up in this second half. I know we talked about his goal, but Robbie Mertz just felt like he was all over the field in a good way. He's covered so much ground in that first half, and as he's tended to do a lot in his Riverhounds career, just had a complete performance in that first half.
He has. The influence has been high. His effectiveness has been high. I mean, we talked about that big save by Matt Van Oekel early on Robbie Mertz. That was just a relentless play to get around that corner.
Can the Legion break here? That was a chance to find Ronaldo Damas, who has his thumbs up, appreciated the service, but it is cleared out for a throw-in to the Legion on the near side. Well, again, don't miss your chance to be a part of history with the Pittsburgh Riveters SC. Season tickets for the 2025 USL W League are on sale now. Go to riveterssc.com/tickets to catch all the action here at Highmark. Another great Highmark crowd here. The Steel Army have been wonderful again here tonight. Robbie Mertz was well acclimated with them after scoring the goal in the first half, went and celebrated with the fans. And now it's the Legion hoping to bounce back in the second half. Can that little move and passage of play build some of the Birmingham confidence here? They're going to get a free kick after the challenge came in. It's in a pretty good position for the Legion. They've got a few options here.
And I don't mean to overdo this point, but with this kind of style of play that Pittsburgh is implementing here early on in the season, their ability to be on the ball more, their ability to see more possession, you want to see it over a long period of time in terms of how this actually plays out with some of these moments. When you concede possession and you have to give up a free kick, how do you stay switched on in some of these moments where you are a bit expansive and your distances are a little larger than when you kind of were a bit more counterattacking, a bit more transitional. So now you concede a free kick with Birmingham that they're looking for any sniff of momentum and any step that they could take.
It's going to be a long-range shot from Hernandez Foster, and it ends up fizzling out here, and then that challenge comes in from Torres. Referee waves it away. A few Hounds fans, at least, baying for a free kick. Preston Tabor-Itaka, and then Ronaldo Dames does get the shot away, but not enough venom to test Eric Dick. We'll get a chance to revisit this challenge.
And you could see that the referee in good position to make that call, and that's all you ever ask for. Is you could disagree or agree with the call, but if the referee's in good position consistently, that's what you want. Good officiating.
The ball's going to trickle down the line here. Now it's Birmingham looking for a free kick here. It's not been given. Sample just about getting past two challenges here. It could open up here for the Hounds if they work quickly, but it's well closed down, and Danny Griffin is forced to swiftly retreat for the moment. Walty, and it's cleared away by Eric Dick. And who's it last off of as Tom Sohn corrals it. It's a Riverhounds throw in the Birmingham technical area. Well, Select is proud to be the official match ball supplier of the USL Championship, from the Academy to the big leagues. Select is there every step of the way. Visit us.select-sport.com for the latest Select products, specials, and more. And as always, Select is the player's choice.
And often what you would see that would make Pittsburgh so difficult, and what continues to make them difficult, but in years past, is they would get this lead and they would just get so compact and so behind the ball that you almost kind of shook your head and put your hands up and said, I don't know how I'm going to break this team down when you have to break down 11 players. So with this expansive style and this desire to be on the ball and open teams up and open opponents up, do you leave yourself available for a counter-attacking goal or transition goal from opponents? And I think Bob Lilly's made the point that if the way they play adds the amount of goals that they think it's going to add on a season tally, but it also adds a few more conceded, they'll take that. Yeah. Because the goal creation is what they're looking for. They're looking for a sustained goal creation and not just the moments that are fleeting sometimes in those special moments in counterattacks and transition that you look for, but sustainability.
Tabor-Itaka's ball in, headed high into the air, not cleared yet. McCartney resets the play for the Legion here. Torres. Roman Torres, it's lovely skill. Still Torres trying to cut it back onto his right boot, and there was just one too many Hounds in his way. And then I think there might have been a follow-up on the end of that sequence. The Hounds will get a free kick. Well, the last time these two teams met was September last year, September 28th. It was here at Highmark. Edward Kizza scored for Bob Lilly's side in the first half, 22nd minute. Stefano Pino equalized for Birmingham in a 1-1 draw in the 79th minute. So there is a little bit of precedent for Birmingham to bounce back here at Highmark, but that is the only time that the Legion have taken any points from Highmark in their history.
And I know what I'm about to say is not an example of what you just mentioned of them at Highmark, but out of their 3 matches so far, their 2 draws have been come from behind draws.
Yeah.
Their only game that they've taken a lead is in the 3-1 loss to Loudoun. They scored early and then conceded 3 unanswered. And I'm not saying that's a recipe for success for Tom Stone's Birmingham Legion side, but to your point, they've shown the capacity and the ability and the quality and the understanding and the collaboration to come from behind it and equalize. And obviously, right now, still plenty of time, so you find the equalizer within the next 10, 15 minutes. I mean, you give yourself plenty of time to go find the game winner as well.
Just past the hour mark here in the Steel City. Free kick for the Hounds.
Just a reminder that after the match,
again, of course, Pittsburgh in search of that 100th Highmark win, in search of a 120th win as the Hounds coach for Bob Lilly. And again, we mentioned it earlier, Tom Stone is 10 wins away for 100 in his incredible career with the Birmingham Legion. So we're talking about top-class coaches here in a big-time game early in this USL Championship season. Walty follows up well here at 2 from Mertz. All the way back for Suber. And Suber's ball is cut out. Atsu gets it under his spell on this near side. But then it's touched away from him by Thiago Suarez. Well-timed tackle. And then Walty is all over Tabor Itaka to quickly get it back for the Hounds. Walty, clever, digs it out for Mertz, who tries to slash it forward for Augie Williams, to no avail. The Birmingham Legion have gotten that elusive shot on target in this second half, but can they get the equalizer? Here is Tabor Itaka. And Tabor Itaka's ball in. Ooh, Eric Dick didn't quite read that correctly, but the assistant referee says he did not touch it. It's a goal kick. Rare moment of indecision for one of the best goalkeepers in the league. It does look like there's some rumblings in the Pittsburgh technical area as Bob Lilly might be ready to make a change or two. We'll get to that in a moment.
We saw those stats just a few moments ago. The final third entries is something that jumps out to me. Obviously Birmingham controlling that number, but I just think the quality in which of those final third entries has really influenced the scoreline so far, and Pittsburgh Riverhounds have been a bit more methodical with building through the thirds and finding that crafty moment where they're collective and they have those layers, they have those numbers in the final third, where Birmingham's attacks have been a bit more isolated, a lot more 1v1s or 1v2s to be fair.
Well, that's a misplaced pass. Augie Williams is able to move this forward here for Pittsburgh. He cuts it back, and then it's recovered well by Torres. Hamoda thanking his lucky stars that he had some reinforcements around him to stop Augie Williams from moving it forward. Here's Atsu. Atsu, it's a clever ball across, but there's nobody there in black and yellow. A delicious bit of service from Junior Atsu. It just needed a touch. And I think that's going to lead to a pair of Bob Lilly substitutions here. Bradley Sample is going to make way, and Aiden O'Toole, who was on that first half yellow card, is also going to leave us as well. Ilal Osumanu is going to come on, and Jason Borgi is also going to enter here for the Hounds.
And you got to wonder if this means that Idrak will move into midfield
That man, Ilalo Osumano, has also been a big game player for Bob Lilly over the years as well. Part of just that core we were talking about in the first half, and just the consistency of that core. That's another player who fits right into that category.
And they did a superb job last week against Jang from Hartford, who is a handful to deal with up top.
So Osumano and Borghi are on. Try to help the Hounds' cause here. 25 minutes remaining. Still just the one goal in it. Ooh, heavy coming together there. Referee says all ball and then brings it back. Mertz and Tabordi Taka getting into it. Walty has to separate them here as tempers fray a bit here at Highmark. Mertz apologetic to Tabordi Taka, who got a little hot-headed there. Although it's Tabordi Taka who puts the challenge in. Oh, and then Mertz maybe leaves a boot in.
I was going to say, I was with you. The initial look is Robbie Mertz has no visual on where Tabordi Taka is coming from over that left shoulder. To your point, looks like it just catches Tabordi Taka after the whistle.
They're going to need Tabordi Taka, Damas, Martinez and company to try to come alive here in these last 24 minutes. There's been some chances sort of weaved in to the game, but as you mentioned earlier, Coach, few and far between and lacking real quality.
Yeah, we talked about the sustainability that Pittsburgh and Bob Lilly are looking for in their structure. Got to imagine that is what Birmingham Legion are looking for, is who can connect.
Walty, meanwhile, plays it in for Augie Williams, but he's offside. Frustrations from the Hounds here. Augie Williams strays offside, and he's robbed of his first Highmark goal as a Riverhound. Ball swiftly put back into play here. Mertz tried a little dummy for Etu, who was not ready for it.
And credit to Birmingham Legion in defending here. Obviously a poor giveaway, but the ability to be collective in the way that they press and the way that they sit. I mean, that was going to be a massive issue. But they were collective in holding that line, and then they influenced the pass just enough that Augie Williams had to continue his run, and it was just a fraction offside from Augie Williams. But that's what we saw it in the first half with Van Oekel, the save on Robbie Mertz.
Martinez! Oh! Not far away. And Enzo Martinez is always just a moment away from creating some magic.
Yeah, Bob Lilly talked to us about Enzo Martinez this week. Just kind of pops up and influences both boxes, and that's where he's just made his career as not only being a playmaker, being a disruptor off the ball. Just quickly going back to Birmingham defensively, that ability to recognize a loud moment and defend it correctly and be collective, and keeping this at 1-0. You still have plenty of time to get a goal back, but you can't concede that second.
Williams, 2 men on him, runs out of room on the near side. It's a giveaway. Well, soccer season is here, and SeatGeek is the official ticketing partner of the USL. Get all your USL tickets and more from the #1 ticketing site, SeatGeek. Your ticket to great seats.
When we visit the Charleston Battery, stream the match live.
Well, they're coming together there. Damas takes it quickly, and Martinez could not spin out of that little double team. He was double covered. And again, the Hounds have the right men in the right spots to deal with it. Clever from Walty to find Mertz. And Mertz is able to move it forward again here. Finds a teammate, and then it slipped through. It's a brilliant bit of play here, and it's 2-0. This one's gonna count. It's a captain's goal from Danny Griffin. After some exquisite build-up play from the Riverhounds, it's a marvelous team goal. And Pittsburgh leads by 2-0 here at Highmark.
Just exceptional all around. This ball played across, and you almost think that this touch right there gets away from Idrak. But the tempo and pace that he's able to play this ball through is all the difference. And Danny Griffin came up huge last week with the game winner against Hartford. Comes up huge for his team tonight, tucking away the second goal of the game, providing his team with that cushion that they were looking for.
Second goal of the season for Danny Griffin. It's just the second time in his Hounds career that he's scored multi-goals in a season. And it's only March 29th, I should say. It's another Cohen Markets goal for the Hounds. And once again, Birmingham lost in the yellow smoke here at Highmark.
And another element that Bob Lilly and this team are looking for from the way that they're playing is the involvement from Danny Griffin, Robbie Mertz. Obviously, these are players that have been effective and have been mainstays for this team. But you mentioned it. I mean, his involvement in the final third and in scoring and the attack has been limited. And this is a player that has led the team in minutes played in 3 of the last 4 seasons. So he is playing the minutes and doing the role defensively, but now reaping the rewards on the attacking side.
Williams again, brilliant ball through. Again, just needed a touch. Just to back up what you just said, Coach, since debuting in 2020, Danny Griffin's played in 153 games, now 154. In all competitions, he's missed 2 games. Talk about being an Iron Man in the Steel City. Great ball clipped in here, the header is down, Eric Dick is there, and then he's clashed into. Late hit from Ronaldo Damas. And the referee's gonna have to sort this out. Possible head injury here for the goalkeeper, Dick, and then does Damas deserve a booking for this?
And I know the fans and everybody in Pittsburgh want to play, and both players making a play on the ball. Looks like that ball just holds up just long enough for Ronaldo Damas to think that there's room to maybe grab momentum and pull back a goal from his team. As you see, he has earned himself a yellow card.
Yeah, the Damas yellow is confirmed. Some Legion supporters might be saying, well, what could he have done differently? Well, it was late. That's the answer.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I know Ronaldo Damas is going to plead his case to the official, but you know in those situations that, to your point, yes, you're making an effort to make a play for your team, but it is late, as we see a substitution for both sides.
Yeah, the Legion are going to bring on Danny Trejo, who has only played 50 minutes so far for the Legion this season. Of course, well remembered for that incredible Phoenix Rising run to the championship a few seasons back. Preston Tabor Itaka is going to leave us here. And Max Brodin is going to come on for Pittsburgh here. And that will be the end of the night for Junior Etu, who was excellent yet again at Highmark for the Hounds.
They had the assist last week for the game winner against Hartford, and this is a team that, regardless of playing a 5-back that morphs into a 3-back, now playing a 4-back, they ask a lot of their wing play. And Junior Etu and Luke Biasi and Broughton, now Borgi, they're going to be so crucial in unbalancing opponents on both sides of the ball, because they're going to have to work up and down the field, and those relationships out in those wide areas are vital to the sustain and longevity of the way Pittsburgh is looking to play.
Ball's fluttered onto this near side for Jake Roof. Danny Trejo marauds into the penalty area, does really well, and wins the Legion a corner.
And that brings us to Danny Trejo, a big acquisition for Birmingham Legion. And we know that this is a team that, just like Pittsburgh, defensive-minded, the structure, but when they bring in Ronaldo Damas and Danny Trejo, those were loud acquisitions.
Cohen Markets with the corner here. Can the Legion get back into it? Oh, it's a header at the far stick. And it was on the doorstep for Birmingham here. It somehow misses the target off the head of Thiago Suarez. Well, certainly a warning sign for the Hounds there, and Suarez maybe should have done a bit better there, although the angle was against him.
Noodles and Company. Noodles and Company has a dish for everyone. From mac and cheese
exploring that far post, and it looked like Suarez had won his individual battle and beat his defender into the space, just unable to guide it onto target. Looked like he would have had Eric Dick beaten and would have cut into this lead.
And there, Ronaldo Damas is offside for Birmingham there. Well, the Legion need all the help they can get, and Damas makes a mental mistake there and slams the ball into the turf. Pittsburgh encouraged to get the ball back into play here, and they do. And then it's quickly won back by the Hounds, high up the field. Williams. Danny Griffin surveys the scene. Finds Broughton on the far side. And the Riverhounds will do a full reset. Well, can't watch the match? Turn on Sirius XM FC 157. North America's only 24/7 source for engaging soccer talk, including USL All Access on Tuesday nights with Devin Kerr and Mike Watts. Plus your all live matches from the USL, MLS, Premier League, and more. All on Sirius XM FC 157 and the new Sirius XM app.
I will reiterate, if you have not been able to listen or watch, obviously try to listen and watch every week USL All Access, but this week the interview with USL President Paul McDonough, especially if you're somebody that is intrigued and excited as we are about the eventual addition of the Division I League and then obviously promotion relegation. There wasn't much that Paul McDonough left off the table in terms of, he was very honest and genuine with what he'd expressed, and see Devin Kerr and Mike Watts do an outstanding job each week of giving you the overview and the wrap up of the week of in the USL Championship.
Coming down on the final 12 minutes here at Highmark. Goals from Robbie Mertz and Danny Griffin, two of the pillars of this Bob Lilly group, coming through again tonight. Danny Trejo and company still trying to push for some late magic here. And if it holds, it's Pittsburgh's 100th win at Highmark. And the 120th under Bob Lilly, and Eric Dick just made a big save to try and keep Pittsburgh moving in the right direction. Maybe the best chance Birmingham's had all night. Hernandez Foster. Danny Trejo. Just his presence on the field has given Birmingham a bit of a boost here. Torres. Plays it near side. Jake Roof. Last scored once this season for the Legion. Now Trejo was really a wonderful bit of give and go play. And now Enzo Martinez, was he brought down? Referee says no. And then Damas is penalized. The Legion players do not like that one bit. They thought they should have had a free kick. The Hounds get it instead.
And Ronaldo Damas probably needs to be careful with some of the interaction he has with the center official, because he's sitting on the yellow, especially now with referees being very deliberate with only speaking to the captain and addressing those kind of, issues and kind of communication. Be very careful. You catch him at the wrong moment, you might pick up the second yellow. And to your point, I mean, right away, Danny Trejo making an influence. The attention that he commands.
Yeah, it felt like the Legion needed some energy, and if there's anything Danny Trejo brings, besides, of course, some immaculate goal-scoring records in his career, it is energy. Pressure here from Williams, then Hernandez Foster. Torres looking over the top here for Thiago Suarez, who's much further forward than he's been for a vast majority of the night, but Eric Dick clears. Falls here for Enzo Martinez, who slides it through. Could be a chance here. McCartney may have been deflected on the way through, and there wasn't a ton of venom in the strike. Easy for Eric Dick. As the Riverhounds reset, we could tell you that eFootball is here. Live your dream, rep your team. Play as your favorite USL Championship club. eFootball is free to play. Download now.
Danny Trejo not far removed from that 2023, as you mentioned. 17 goals, 9 assists.
And was playing with another incredible goal scorer that season, Manuel Arteaga, on a very good Juan Guerra coach side that got hot at the right time that season and won every single road playoff game on the way to winning the title on penalties at Charleston. Foul and a free kick there, and well, someone that knows about scoring goals here at Highmark as an opposition player, Tyler Pasher. He's going to come on here for the Legion. He'll replace Moses Mensah. And Tom Stone, well, he needs all the help he can get if the Legion are going to get a result here. Tyler Pasher has scored some wonderful goals in his career, including a laser beam quite some time ago for Indy 11 here at Highmark. I think that was back in 2019 on a very good Indy 11 side. That was some time ago, though. Hopes to recreate some of the magic here tonight. Martinez, again, not able to link up with Damas. It's just too congested at the moment in and around that Pittsburgh penalty area. And Walty helps it along here. Borgi, couple of step-overs, and then it's a big tackle defensively by Jake Roof. And then Roof gets past one challenge. Walty, though, holds him up. And the Legion will not get the throw-in. Change decision, and I should say, it switches here, and Bob Lilly gets what he wants in the end, although the Legion not happy.
Looks like Bob Lilly's going to continue the thought that he started just a few moments ago, even though, to your point, he did reverse the throw-in.
I think one thing we've learned about Bob Lilly over the years is he's never, ever satisfied.
Yep. Yeah, yeah, I'm just thinking of that. Was overall performance thus far.
Damas has a chance here. Again, there's two men on him. Trejo is in the vicinity. Damas trying his best here, but he's just completely outnumbered by the Hounds defenders that have gotten back perfectly there and have dispossessed him.
Yeah, kind of thinking about his overall outlook on the performance thus far. 84 minutes in, I mean, you got to imagine that there's some things that he's looking at. I think last week they were frightened by some of the turnovers in the build.
Augie Williams, brilliant hold-up play. And then it's Mertz! Touched away by Van Oekel.
You said it earlier, Sean. Robbie Mertz has just, he's been everywhere. I mean, he's been on the left flank, the right flank, on the ball in the final third. He has found a way to have heavy involvement in what Pittsburgh is doing on both sides of the ball. And that brings us back to what we were talking about with Bob Lilly. When you look at this performance, obviously there's still a lot of time left. But if they can keep the clean sheet, they have the 2 goals scored, 2 different goal scorers in 2 different ways. I mean, there's got to be a lot of positives to take away and what they're going to review.
Borgi again into the corner for the Hounds. It ricochets around, and it's going to be... Ooh, what is it going to be? It's going to be a goal kick. Now, 2025 Riverhounds season tickets are on sale now. Don't miss your chance to be a part of all of the action all season long. Tickets are selling fast. Visit riverhounds.com/tickets for more information. And join in on all this Highmark fun that the Steel Army is having tonight. Providing another wonderful atmosphere and soundtrack on a big night in the Steel City. That ball rolls out of play. Thiago Suarez much more forward thinking. Tom Stone has moved him up as these seconds have ticked by. But the Legion are running short on time here. Need to score twice in the final 5 minutes and change.
And with it being this early in the season, Tom Stone, his side, they're looking for glimpses of areas that they can continue to stack performances, build some positivity going into their next few matchups. There is still just so much time left that you know this team is going to look different as the weeks wear on. But that's also intentional. You have to make sure that you're growing from experiences. You can't just go on the road to Highmark and if this scoreline holds, drop a match at Pittsburgh and just kind of not take some elements and grow from them. And that's not at all what Tom Stone and his sides do. They're going to learn from these experiences. They're going to know that the relationships, the ability to be fluid in their movement on and off the ball is going to continue to grow and develop. And they're going to be a tough team to play. But they're gonna have to host El Paso, who's proving to be a tough team to play here early in the early stages of the season too.
Adames just tried to chest it up in the air. Didn't have any room to really maneuver. And again, feels like all night there's been at least 2 Riverhounds trying to stop Ronaldo Adames from doing what he does best. Although Adames is gonna leak through here, and then Adames chopped at it in the penalty area. That was one of the rare glimpses of space that he had inside the 18-yard box tonight. And again, Pittsburgh do just about enough. Trejo. Well, Walty just stopped for the moment there, and he's a bit lucky that Suber was able to step in behind him. And Pittsburgh has Birmingham stretched here at the back. Borgi tries to stay with it, gets into the penalty area. Roof looks to recover and is able to touch it away from him in the nick of time. Here comes Birmingham up the other end. Enzo Martinez trying to cushion it down, but again, swarmed and dispossessed. Mertz up the other end, holds up the play, and then is not on the same page with Broughton. And before the Legion can take the throw, Bob Lilly wants to make a couple of changes here. Robbie Mertz is going to make way here along with Augie Williams. And both were excellent tonight, Mertz in particular.
What a shift put in from Robbie Mertz. I mean, the ground coverage alone was impressive. But now you add in the aspect of the opportunities that came before this goal. But this goal that put Pittsburgh ahead in the first half, the deflection off a Birmingham defender, then calmly tucks it away. Really catapulted his side into that burst of momentum that they've had and sustained through this match.
It's going to be Pablo Linzoan and Brigham Larson who are going to come on here as we're getting close to the dying embers. And Tyler Pasher, he knows a thing or two about scoring here at Highmark. He certainly had eyes for goal there. Trying to recreate the magic of 5 or 6 years ago. Had it blocked, and we're into the 90th minute.
And you could see there just a few moments ago that Bob Lilly and Augie Williams having a discussion on the sideline, and I go back to some of the positive elements that they're gonna take away from this match. When you still haven't had that overall involvement from your central striker, but you still are collecting 3 points and scoring goals, I mean, that's something that you can continue to develop, and the relationship that you know is gonna come to fruition as this season plays out. I think right now it's understanding that you're gonna command a lot of attention. You're gonna get the numbers in and around you as a player. Now, how does your movement off the ball now open up play for a Robbie Mertz, and Aiden O'Toole, Danny Griff? I mean, how does it get your teammates on the ball in some of those dangerous areas?
We enter 5 added minutes at the end of this one. Pittsburgh closing in on what could be a big milestone night for the club and for the club's coach here, Bob Lilly. Closing in on a 100th Highmark win and a 120th Pittsburgh win for Bob Lilly in his illustrious career. And Bob Lilly would tell you this more importantly, a back-to-back wins and 2 in a row at the start of another USL Championship season for the Hounds. Can the Legion give themselves a glimmer of hope here in stoppage time? This is Roof. Near side Suarez, and Hernandez Foster had Walty right behind him, couldn't really move it forward. Now he looks to spear one out to the far side, and Broughton and company are all over it. And Linzoan tried his best to get onto it, but commits a foul.
And I know this was something that when we talked to Bob Lilly this week, it's not something on the minds of the Pittsburgh Riverhounds players or coaching staff, but it does, play into effect after a match like this. You know how big the matchup's going to be. You know what it can entail. But we mentioned it earlier on in this game, the 3 away matches that they've got coming up at Charleston, at Loudoun, and at Detroit City for the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. So taking care of this matchup at Highmark, not only it being its 100th, but massive going into that road trip.
Cohen Supermarket's corner here for Birmingham. Oh, and Dick again didn't quite read it properly, but it was so congested with Pittsburgh defenders that they were just about able to get that clear. Lovely switch of play here. Hernandez Foster. Good bending of the ball into the penalty area, but it's headed away before Damas could really capitalize on it. And then McCartney. Hamoda tried to shoot. Had it blocked away. Only as far as Torres. Linzoan again tries to win it back from him. And Elal Osumanu needs a moment here for the Riverhounds. I think it might be a lower body injury. We'll leave it at that. Osumanu still needs a moment here. Now he's back up onto his feet.
I think the argument from Enzo Martinez and Ronaldo Damas turned into empathy.
Ooh, a challenge there. Ooh, maybe a potential looking for a penalty there with Pasher. Griffin emerges with possession here. Played up ahead to Larson. And the Hounds now really closing in. 2 minutes to go. Broughton. Will Pittsburgh look to put a ribbon on top here? Ball is played across. Tried to find a teammate here. And it falls for Danny Griffin, who has his shot blocked away. Only as far as Suber. Osumanu out wide. And Linzoan is just going to take it into the corner to waste more time. And he's going to get a throw in as well. One minute to play. as Birmingham get the decision. It looks like it's going to be another tough trip to Highmark for the Legion to remember here. Just never really got into the game tonight. I think that's something Tom Sohn would be really disappointed about looking back on this one. They had some opportunities and a few that were close, but it never really looked out of control from a Pittsburgh perspective, and they've been in complete command pretty much from start to finish tonight. There's still 30 seconds left to negotiate for the Hounds here. Damas plays it back for Rue. Final seconds here. Hamoda. Hernandez Foster looks for help here. Enzo Martinez down the line. Kept in by Hernandez Foster. Could be the final act of the match here. Enzo Martinez, first time cross headed away. And it's cleared further upfield. Referee allows play to continue. Just had a brief check on the watch. Walty with another good challenge. And that is it, full time. It is a 100th Highmark win for the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. It's Bob Lilly's 120th win in charge of the Riverhounds. And it's a consecutive win on the bounce for the Hounds in the USL Championship. They beat Birmingham by 2-0. Mertz and Griffin get the business done.
Just a thorough performance from the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. They were magnificent in managing this game. Obviously the first half goal by Robbie Mertz, but besides that, they did it in both boxes. They eliminated transition moments from Birmingham, but they also upgraded quality chances when they could.
We told you that Bob Lilly's never satisfied. Him and Robbie Mertz are still talking here about what they can do better moving forward. They did everything just about right tonight, at least from our perspective. Maybe Bob Lilly would poke a few holes in it, but the Riverhounds were wonderful from start to finish. And we look at tonight's save of the game, smooth save of the game, brought to you by Smoothie King, rule the day, and Eric Dick coming up big here in the second half.
And in a moment where momentum could have shifted for Birmingham, it came up clutch, big save, obviously pushing it into safety where no other Birmingham Legion player was. So didn't have to come up big in the quantity, but had to deal with a quality shot from there.
It was a quality performance from the Riverhounds tonight. No questions about that. And our man of the match tonight, presented by Modelo, is Robbie Mertz. He was absolutely excellent from start to finish. And even Bob Lilly, I think, can agree on that, even though they continue, my goodness, to mull over how the 90 minutes played out.
I was going to say, I think he's telling him that this is why he was man of the match.
Yeah.
The ground coverage. Now, I think, obviously, this is the collaboration that they continue to highlight for the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, but Robbie Mertz was exceptional. The work rate, the ground coverage, the ability to influence both sides of the ball was special tonight.
Believe me, at some point, Bob Lilly and Robbie Mertz will get a chance to celebrate this win. They'll let the fans celebrate for them at the moment here. It's a 100th Highmark win for the Hounds on a milestone night here in the Steel City. Pittsburgh wins it over Birmingham by 2-0. We will wrap it up next.
Jackson's made our house feel like a home.
The day that I was adopted, I felt happy. Blood doesn't have to be biological blood. Your blood could be who you choose. I'm definitely in a better spot than I was when I was in foster care. The house is home.
I'm proud of our family. I'm proud to feel a part of something in a bigger way than I ever felt before.
In Pennsylvania, thousands of children are waiting for a family. And maybe that family is yours.
Paid for with Pennsylvania taxpayer dollars.
Welcome back to Highmark, everybody. Sean St. Jacques, Eric Dobransky here with you. A 100th Highmark win on a milestone evening for the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. They beat Birmingham Legion by 2-0 as the celebrations continue here in the Steel City. Full-time highlights from this one, and while it was really, if not all Hounds, mostly Hounds in this one.
Sturdy and steady. From the opening whistle, Pittsburgh Riverhounds were optimistic, climbing the field, playing front-footed, and then the deflection out to Robbie Mertz, who had been asking a lot of difficult questions of Birmingham. early on, tucks this away to make it 1-0. Pittsburgh picking up that first half goal that really comes to define what opponents have to do to them in the second half. And you saw Birmingham had to open up some opportunities, and you catch them with one of the most collective goals you'll see in a match. It starts at midfield, good outlet, and then that ball that Idrak has, it moves defenders, and it creates that open lane for the finish for Danny Griffin.
Came off a takeaway as well, kind of a goal that encapsulates what Bob Lilly's teams want to do from beginning to end. Griffin and Mertz are the heroes as we look at the full-time match stats here, and really overall, the Hounds were dominant from the beginning till the end. It really kind of encapsulated what Bob Lilly wants. It was a Bob Lilly masterclass in a lot of ways. It was the epitome of what they want to do.
Yeah, really for their 100th win at Highmark. I mean, this is a classic Pittsburgh Riverhounds performance. Obviously in a different shape and a different style of play. But when they influence both boxes, that's when they're at their best.
They did it against a very good Birmingham Legion team as well, who will hope to bounce back next time out. But it ends up being a landmark evening here at Highmark for the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. They beat Birmingham by 2-0. They get their 100th Highmark win, and it's the 120th win for Bob Lilly as the Hounds coach. For Eric Dobransky and our entire crew, I'm Sean St. Jacques. We say so long from the Steel City. It's the Steel Army that goes home happy after a Riverhounds 2-0 win.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the express written consent of the United Soccer League.